in my career after training thousands and thousands of reps. I've had this conversation thousands of times where I would say majority of them they might even bag it anyway. No matter what I say, their mind's made up and they give up and they never know what would have happened. They never know what could have happened. Then I've also had the same conversation. I'll give you a story of Jen Gerard. As an open my drawer here. Uh, Jen Gerard, she's from BYU. She was on the folk dancing team. Okay, and you know the Christmas around the world. I think it's going on. Is it going on?
I'll try it out for the folk dancing.
Right. So she actually teaches at what's the academy now that's on 8th North in Orem? Major Academy. It's elementary. I think it's a charter school.
Okay.
She
That's
teaches.
what I'm looking
Yeah, so she's teaching there, teaches math, but she's a dancer, and you know she's heavy merchant as we discussed. You are too, and I am second merchant. My second, you know, most core value is merchant, and like I've said a couple times in training, you know, sometimes you're worried about offending people, stepping on people's toes, and then when you get your aunt that acted the way she did, which I've had, I mean that's happened thousands of times too for reps. But so she tried to quit in first weekend. It was either right during or after. I think she came into advanced training and she was going to quit. And I was like, Jen, and we had a good relationship. I'm like, Jen, you're not allowed to quit. I actually said it that way. I'm like, nope. She's like, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you quit. Okay. I'm like, you haven't even tried the job yet. You haven't. And she had done a few demos, but you know, in reality, she hadn't really tried the job. Yes, she cut some rope in front of human beings, but she was more, while doing that, more emotionally attached to, you know, was she doing it wrong? Was she screwing up? Was she bad at the job? Blah 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 blah. You know, whatever. So look at this guy. He comes in. I think he's bringing me a cookie. This guy's awesome. I don't even know. So anyway, never mind. Okay, good. So you know, I'm like you. She went through the motions, but she had too much emotion attached to. I'm not a salesperson, which is you know something you just said. You know, and I'm just not confident. And by the way, smart girl. This was not a dummy. You know, this is not the rep that I was like, give me your sample kit back now because it's $400 and I don't know if you're going to walk off with it. I've already done that with someone in your group. So again, I'm spending time with you when I've already told someone in your group, give me the kit. All right.
So I appreciate it.
And I'm glad. And so she tried to quit and said you're not allowed to. And you know, it's just the way relationship. I don't say that to everybody. Anyways, so she goes out and I'm like, Jen, I want you to stop worrying about it. I'm like, I don't have emotional attachment to whether you sell or whether you don't. Don't have emotional attachment to whether you're offending people. Don't have emotional attachment to what you're doing wrong and you know, are you good at this? I'm like, what I want you to do is follow the manual, cut stuff, and the third one is the big one. And do you remember what it was? Have fun. She wasn't having fun. She was stressed out. So she goes out and sells $2,000. I think it was $2,500 in the next like 4 days. Comes in, tries to quit. Okay, and I was like, Jen, you're not allowed to quit till after your fast start. No way. You've worked too hard. You've gotten all these good results. Your customers haven't even gotten their Cutco yet. Wait till they get their Cutco, right? So then she goes on, and no talk again until like I don't know, maybe a month later. She's like, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm like, Jen, you sold $5,000 or whatever it was. I don't even remember. It might have been 10 grand. I'm like, you've sold a lot of Cutco, and I don't even know why she wanted to quit. For all I know, she had a bad day. For all I know, who knows? She had a boyfriend break up with her. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you're not allowed to quit. So then she goes out and she sells $30,000 in Cutco, made 10 grand, and she did it part time. She was teaching dance. She was teaching folk dancing, and she did it part time. So you know, you got your other two businesses, and you're working part time. Whatever, full part time, whatever your business is, working part time here. She made 10 grand in the next like I don't know, it might have been 6 months. Okay, which for part time, that's not too shabby, right? She wasn't doing that many appointments, and so what I just tell you, the experience I've had is that a bunch of reps that we have this conversation with, they go out and they still like they hear me out, and they sneak in here later, avoiding me, because they know they could do it and they don't bother and they won't hack, they can't hack it emotionally or whatever, and they turn in the kid and we never hear from them ever again. And eventually, who wins this conversation? The answer is you're going to decide whatever I say. You're still going to make a decision,
Mhm.
and they maybe make that decision, and whether they're man enough to talk to me again or not,
Mhm.
whatever. I will point out that you know you should be man enough to talk about it because uh, if you can't, then no wonder you didn't sell.
Mhm.
If you're not willing to have that conversation, then how are you going to have a conversation about buying or selling a product?
Yeah.
It's a matter of confidence and conviction. Anyway, and so I can probably tell you 80%
Mhm.
of the people that I have the conversation with, they still, for whatever reason, decide not to continue with the business.
Mhm.
Turn in their kit, and like I've said, they never know
Mhm.
because they never really tried.
Yeah.
They emotionally sign off, and in their demos, even if they go through the motions, they don't actually try. They
Mhm.
stop having fun. They don't think to have fun. They're so uptight and thinking about themselves. Why? I think I told you this on the phone.
Mhm.
Why do salespeople get a bad rep?
You did not tell me this one.
Okay, well, what are they usually deemed as being?
Pushy.
Pushy because why?
Because they're trying to sell something.
Because why?
I don't know what you're going for.
Why are they trying to push it?
Because they want to make money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're thinking about who?
To think about themselves.
Themselves.
Mhm.
So they get a bad rep because they're being selfish,
Mhm.
greedy, salesy because they have to make money, commission only, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
But they get a bad rep because bottom line, they're thinking of themselves. Why do bad boyfriends or girlfriends get a bad rep?
Mhm.
They're thinking about themselves. Okay? And the bottom line is if you're self-conscious and if you're, again, merchant,
Mhm.
I'm a merchant,
Mhm.
a lot of merchants, not every one of them, but a lot of them get this emotional attachment of, I don't want to step on people's toes. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to have that pressure, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
And that overpowers their, I want to have fun. I want to help a customer. Because a merchant also should think, you need these knives. You should get these knives. You're going to use them every day for the rest of your life. Knives aren't a priority in your life. Neither is breathing, but you do it every day. You don't think about breathing, but you do it every day.
Mhm.
You don't think about cutting food, but you do it every day. There's 0% of the people on the planet that don't cut their food before they eat it.
Mhm.
And when people say it's not their priority, that doesn't mean they don't use them and they wouldn't benefit from owning them.
Mhm.
But a merchant thinking correctly
Mhm.
thinks, I'm going to help my customer. I'm
Mhm.
going to help my customer. And a merchant thinking selfishly.
Mhm.
It's weird though, it's a different reason.
Yeah.
Greedy salespeople, I want money, I want money.
Mhm.
But if you're thinking about yourself for other reason, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to screw up, I'm nervous, I'm self-conscious, you're still being what?
Selfish.
Selfish.
Mhm.
And if it, you can think of what a teacher says. A good teacher is going to get right in the face of the student who's given the hardest time
Mhm.
and try to bend that kid, work them, mold them so that they become a good kid
Mhm.
versus say, oh, I'm pissed off at you, I'm about me, you're a jerk, little 12-year-old, get out of my face, I'm not going to try, I'm going to ignore you the rest of the semester.
Mhm.
A good teacher will even though it's hard, they'll overcome that selfish, I'm mad at you, and give of themselves.
Mhm.
And again, when you're doing a good demo and you get over that internal dialogue of whether it's for you or not, or whether you're good or not, or whatever, you follow.
Mhm.
Okay, so 80% of the reps I have this conversation with bag it still, and you may choose that. Even if I convince you to keep your kit and say you're going to do demos right now, you still you can still decide later when you leave whether you're going to do demos.
Mhm.
So let me go back to Jen, because my experience is, while a lot of the conversations I had that are exactly like this, not exactly, but very similar, I have the same experience where reps write me letters and say, thank you for not letting me quit. And if I could find Jen's, I would read it to you. I don't have it. Here's Peyton Moss, tried to quit a few times. He's on his mission right now, and he said how great the job was. Who's this? Someone just grabbed scratch paper and wrote on it. Oh, this is MJ, who's on her mission right now. And, I've got, tons of letters, and then I got paychecks, okay? And I could just go on and on and on of people. Here's another little, post-it note they got, and here's a card in the envelope. You know what I mean? Who's this anyway? Yeah, Elder Skousen. So it's funny they write me the letter, Elder Skousen. But you know what I mean? Like I've got tons of. Here's one, a musical card. Okay, this is awesome. Let's see if it. Yeah, that's the music that's left.
Oh.
This one was a solo. I don't even know what it was. But you know, my point is, you can tell why I do my job, right? I got a stack full of stories, less than the other stack with me of people that my computer signed off here, or my screen. You know, this is way less than the people that actually want to quitting. But you know, why do I work, and why am I talking to you right now? And I know you're not an 18-year-old, and your life isn't going to be deeply altered necessarily as maybe an 18-year-old before his mission might be altered by doing this job. But dude, when you do 4 demos and you spent 30 to 40 hours doing the job, or at least showing up to training day 1, day 2, day 3, you did the hardest work of making the phone calls. And then you did the grueling work of having your aunt diss you. You know what I mean? And diss on maybe your worst thoughts about what might happen if you're doing demos, and then she confirms in some manner, shape, or form that, oh yeah, I felt bludgeoned by these reps. And like I said, the only time a customer has ever felt bludgeoned is because they felt so much stress, and this we talked about, that the rep was peeing in their pants the whole demo, just like the speech. Whoever's giving a crappy speech, you and the audience just feel horrible for the speaker. You're feeling physical pain and agony because the speaker is doing such a bad job. It's painful to watch. And when a customer's ever felt pressure with our program, it's because the rep wasn't following the program, and they were so into themselves, being nervous, being whatever, that's why the customer felt pressure. It's not because the rep was pushy. It's because they literally were peeing in their pants. I feel bad for my kid when he's in pain. You know, my kid actually fell off the counter yesterday. You know what I mean? And it's like, my wife's freaking out. I'm freaking out. He was fine. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, I feel so bad for my little kid. And that's how the customer feels about the rep who's in pain. You know, and they feel pressure from the internal, their own merchant. Anyway, I know I kind of went through that with you. And and bottom line, man, you're a sharp guy. I don't want to see you quit. I don't want to see you do 4 demos, make $64, make the company no money, and that matters. But you know what I mean. You get 0 positive reinforcement or 0 positive results from the 4 demos you did. One of which your aunt was whatever. You know what I mean. I don't care if you do this job part-time. I don't care if you do this job super part-time. But you owe it to yourself, this is my opinion, for all the effort and energy you put in to make some sales. And if you actually tried, and I'm not saying you haven't tried, but if you actually like got over the emotional part of this that we're in right now, where you don't feel like it's for you, so that's why I say emotional. If you actually just try it for 7 more days, again, I don't need you. The company doesn't need you. We're not going to go under because you're here or not. I'm not going to lose my mortgage payment or whatever. But the emotional attachment I said earlier that I have to this conversation is that you should try it. And actually try it and not be so attached to whether they buy and are you being pushy. And just let it out and just like go with it with the customers versus bag it. Because you could bag it. You could definitely decide not to do it. But your customers are going to use knives. And if they don't buy knives from you, they're going to buy knives eventually. And your customers will always be happy. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, my thoughts are that based on what I know about myself, based on my life experience, I know that this isn't the kind of job that I'm wanting right now. This isn't the kind of job that I want to do for the rest of my life. And I feel very strongly that jobs that I'm doing should be things that will be leading me toward a career. I don't have a career yet, so I thought I wanted to try this and see if perhaps this is for me.
Right.
And I like Cutco knives. I think they're great. But honestly, at the same time, if I think back through the people that I know, they've had the same knives for 15 years, and they're like the Henkel one-man knives, and like I know my family's had the same knives as long as I can remember, and they're exactly that. And the distress that has been caused by that could have been saved by having Cutco knives, I don't see it as worth it. Therefore, I don't feel like I would be a good representative of Cutco knives, as well as I don't.
So you're
feel
saying,
like
do you
Cutco is
think
my-
that their opportunity cost of not owning Cutco hasn't been worth the price of them getting Cutco?
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, I think Cutco's great, but I don't think I'm going to get Cutco throughout my life. I think if somebody gave me Cutco, I would be pumped.
Sure, yeah, of course. Well, I wouldn't think you would ever want to buy Cutco. And the reason I say that is you're a single guy who hasn't spent a dime on your house yet.
Yeah.
Wait till you do. Wait till you spend a dime on any kitchen supplies that aren't at Walmart. You know, because when you spend a dime or thousands of dollars, remember this was in training, but the thousands of dollars you spend when you own, see, you're just so you know, you cannot. It would be crazy for you to think you're going to buy Cutco at this point. Now, if you want to buy your kit, it's $89. That's worth it because you got $400 worth of Cutco for $89. But on the other hand, and by the way, I get nothing when you buy your kit. It profits me nothing, and when you give it back to us, it doesn't hurt me. They don't dock me. Now you steal the kit, they dock me. Okay, and you already know that, which is why you're here. But my point is, you know, it's a great deal if you want to buy your kit, but I get nothing. It doesn't make a difference to me. I have zero attachment or thought about what that. I will tell you that the same customers that say they wouldn't get Cutco, they didn't this weekend. But I think more of the reason why they didn't is probably what we've already discussed. Is that the demo itself was something you weren't as comfortable with. Because I guarantee they're going to spend thousands of dollars over their lifetime of cutting. And even if they say they've had these knives for 15 years, they probably had two other knife sets that they don't still have anymore. That they may have gotten sets of cutlery through different venues. Maybe they got 3 sets when they got married. I know people that have gotten 3 sets of knives when they got married, and customers have told me, oh, we just used this one for a while, threw it away, used another one we got for our wedding, and threw that away, and now we're on our 3rd set of knives. Well, we've had this set for 10 years, but they used 2 other sets. You know what I mean? Yeah, they've had it. You know what I mean? I've had a granola bar in here for 6 months, but haven't eaten it. You know what I mean? So, just keep that in mind, is that you shouldn't think you're going to buy Cutco. But I guarantee when you own a home, you'll be wishing you had Cutco. Not just because you've worked here, but because if someone comes over and shows any human being Cutco, they're always like, yeah, I want that. Saying that it's not that big a deal not to own Cutco is like saying, well, I mean, I can own a Geo Metro or I can own a Toyota Camry, and that's not even a good comparison. It's really a BMW, that we're talking about with Cutco. But anyone that has the opportunity to have a BMW is not going to be sad about it.
My bigger concern is I'm looking for a career. I really don't see this as being my career. So I'm going to go look for a career. My goal this week is to look into master's programs to see if I could become a professor.
You told me that, right?
How that would turn out.
So until you find that, and that's going to be involving school, right? So until you find that, my only thought is, obviously you have your 2 businesses, but until you find something else you can do.
2 businesses and 3 other jobs that I don't own.
Right.
But
you have what? 3 other jobs?
I currently work in 5 jobs.
You are? I thought you said just 2. Oh, okay.
I own 2.
And
then I have a total of 5.
Right.